Hey everyone, welcome back again to the channel. This is episode 4, and today we're tackling a really powerful question. Are you the cycle breaker in your family? Now, before you answer, I want you to stick with me because this might not mean exactly what you think it does. You've probably heard the phrase breaking generational curses floating around maybe on Instagram, in therapy spaces, or in spiritual communities. And it sounds kind of epic, right? Almost glamorous, like stepping into a hero's journey. But here's the truth no one tells you: it's not glamorous at all. In fact, being a cycle breaker is one of the hardest, messiest, most misunderstood roles you can take on. This path is rarely paved in gold. It's paved with repetitive cycles, painful lessons, and a lot of deep, uncomfortable inner work. And yet, it's also one of the most important journeys you could possibly ever embark on. So, what does it actually mean to be a cycle breaker? If you look online, the image is often overly romanticized. A person meditating peacefully on a mountaintop, bathed in golden light, maybe with the caption, "Healing Generations." And while meditation and reflection are powerful tools, don't get me wrong, they absolutely help us reconnect and recenter. They are not the full picture. The grunt work, the real grunt work of breaking cycles doesn't happen on the mountaintop. It happens here in everyday raw life. It's in the messy arguments with family. It's in the moment you stop yourself before sending that angry text. It's in how you choose to show up in relationships, in your finances, in the way you raise your children, or even in how you talk to yourself when no one's around. That's where cycles are actually broken, in the trenches of daily choices. And let me be real with you. For those genuinely walking this path, it can feel painful, even crushing at times. Often the cycle breaker is the scapegoat. You're the one in your family who they all point fingers at, the one who doesn't follow the script, the one who refuses to sweep dysfunction under the rug. You might be the black sheep, not only at home but at work, in your friendships, even in your romantic relationships. And when people don't understand what you're going through, it can feel incredibly isolating. I've experienced this myself. And it's easy to slip into victim mentality. It's easy to feel like you've got a target on your back. But listen carefully. That target isn't there because you're weak. It's there because you're strong enough to carry the responsibility that others couldn't. You're the one brave enough to look the cycle in the eye and say, "This ends with me." Here's how this works. Most of us inherit patterns from our families, patterns around money, around love, around communication, around stability or instability. Sometimes it's addiction, sometimes it's unhealed trauma, sometimes it's silence. For example, maybe you keep finding yourself in toxic relationships, and then one day you realize, so did your mother and your grandmother. Or maybe you battle depression or addiction and suddenly you see it's been running quietly through your family tree for generations. Now, most people repeat these patterns without ever questioning them, but the cycle breaker, you stop, you notice, you ask why, and then you make the choice to respond differently than your ancestors did. That's the shift. That's the breaking of the chain. And here's the thing, awareness, it's not easy. Without awareness, you're just another link in the chain. And honestly, Not everyone has the luxury of awareness. Some people are just trying to survive. Others live in environments where questioning family systems, cultural norms, or religious traditions is just not safe. So if you're watching this right now and you do have that space, the safety and the awareness to make different choices, don't take that lightly. Recognize it for what it is. It's a gift. A heavy one, yes, but a gift with the power to transform not only your life, but the lives of countless people after you. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're an empath or a sensitive, highly sensitive person. You keep attracting narcissistic partners. At first you think, why is this always happening to me? What's wrong with me? But eventually you start looking deeper. You realize your mother was an empath and your father was a narcissist. Go back further. Maybe your grandmother was a narcissist and your grandfather was an empath who never escaped the abuse. Suddenly your story starts to make sense in the context of generations. Now here's the turning point. You decide the cycle ends with me. You take a step back from dating. You dive into books and therapy. You learn about narcissism, attachment wounds, people pleasing. You start noticing your patterns, your fear of abandonment, your habit of ignoring red flags, your tendency to give too much. And yeah, sometimes you slip up. But you get up, you keep learning. And eventually you meet someone who's also done their healing work. Not another narcissist, but someone who values you, who's walked their own journey of breaking cycles. Together you build something new, a relationship built on safety, trust, and genuine love. That's what cycle breaking looks like. Not perfection, not overnight healing, but messy, slow, steady change that rewrites the script for everyone who comes after you. So here's the bottom line. Being a cycle breaker is not easy. In fact, it may be some of the hardest work you'll ever do. It takes courage, patience, and the willingness to keep going, even when no one understands. But it's also sacred work, because when you choose to break cycles, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing your ancestors. All the ones who carried wounds you never had a chance to heal. That they never had a chance to heal. And you're creating a completely new story for the generations ahead of you, if you decide to have children. And really, what could be more important than that in the human experience? Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Do you see yourself as the cycle breaker in your family? What patterns are you working to change? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because your story might inspire someone else who feels quite alone right now. If this episode resonated with you, give it a like, hit the subscribe button, do all the usual stuff, and share it with someone who might need this reminder today. And don't forget to stick around for the next episode, and we'll dive even deeper into the next stage of the healing journey. Until then, take care, keep doing the work, and remember, the cycle ends with you.